I'm older, okay, so I need. So, but we do have a person. 71. How old are you gonna be? Are you ready? We should.
Yeah, it's recording.
Everybody get over.
Call the election board meeting to order on March 6th of 2024. Everybody, for the most part, is sprayed and wet, so you can sit down. Yes, please. I say that we'll do a roll call silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes of the February 7th, 2024 election board meeting. Second. Any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sarah, ballot information update. Where are we with all of our litigation?
Well, we had a hearing yesterday on Joseph Budvar. We have until 5 p.m. today to file answers to the judge about signatures. So I don't know if it will remain on or be removed. William Parker, he was removed. That hearing was Monday. And the Brandon Thomas Setti, that is March 8th, this Friday, that hearing. So I'm not sure about that one. I know that Dauphin County is currently looking up the names on the petitions and maybe she'll withdraw, I don't know. So I'm just kind of waiting on those two. The ballots, I mean, I'm all ready to go. I did email the party chairs, just to look over the names I had on there and everything last week.
So, for those that want to know, Sarah, when do we mail out our overseas ballots?
Friday.
Right. So if these people are on the ballot and they were removed, anybody that will vote for these people, that vote will not count. Okay? We cannot wait any longer, so Friday we mail in our overseas ballots.
Military.
That's our military overseas ballots. And hopefully we will come to a conclusion before the other ballots go out. Anything else for ballot information update?
No. Oh, sorry. No. Just state like those things going out to for this place.
Our famous butter.
I just wanted to, we have processed so far mail-in and absentee applications 8,534. And we are up to date with processing.
Congratulations. That's a monumental task.
8,534. Absentee and mail-in, both. No.
I will say that we are in discussions with our vendor for the cameras, the libraries. I'm not sure if they'll be into the primaries, but they will be more. These are big ones. Anything else? public comment? Teresa?
Public comment today has to do with oath of office and elections. The purpose of the government is to protect the God's written rights. As the Constitution and public are government documents, is the Constitution and the state constitution. One of the most valued acts of voting is free and honest elections for persons in public office. These people take an oath. Sharon Lavender took an oath of office statement on December 28th, 2023, and so with the other two commissioners sitting in the chairs right now. With that said, and I'm requesting that this notarized document from Ms. Josephine Sparrow be entered into this meeting. Statement of facts, subject to Sharon Lavender violating election code. October 19th, 2023, conversation, and I'm going to say this again, I'm Josephine Sparrow. October 19th, 2023, conversation with myself and security guard at the back of the entrance of Monument County Administration Building. Security guard related to me that the ballot box situated across from this window facing him is being misused by the public, with visitors to the box placing more than one ballot inside. October 19th, 2023, I submitted a request to Freedom of Information Officer Greg Christine for a copy of the video record for said ballot box inside the Monroe County Administration Building for a period from October 4th, 2023 to the present, which was October 19th, 2023. I was advised that the county did not have extra hard drives and I would have to copy what they sent to me and return the drive if they would comply with my request. October 19th, 2023 to November 6th, 2023. I reviewed and copied the tapes. The security guard was incorrect. The public acted responsibly, and all visitors to the ballot box placed only one ballot in the box. In examining the tape dated October 17th, 2023, I observed Commissioner Sharon Lavender proceed down the hallway past the voter registration office and make her way to the ballot box across from the security office at the rear of the administration building. She then placed a single ballot in the box. Well, that was usual. That did not. It did seem strange that she would pass the actual voter registration office to deliver her ballot. I didn't think twice about it. In examining the tape on October 18th, 2023, I again observed Commissioner Sharon Lavender again proceed down the hallway, past the voter registration office to place a ballot in the box. November 6, 2023, I submitted a second records request asking for the agent authorization for returning a ballot other than your own. The request was granted, and in stack was an authorization from Ms. Lavender's husband giving her permission to return his ballot. However, it was dated by her for October 19th, and the time stamped by the office by the Board of Elections was October 25th, 2023 at 11:05 a.m. At this point, I conferred with the election attorney who advised me to bring my findings to the district attorney's office. I then decided to speak to the director of the voter registration office to make sure I was understanding the situation correctly. I didn't get to speak with Ms. Silky until November 15th, 2023, as the days subsequent to the election are extremely busy. When I entered her office and asked to speak to her, she asked if we could be joined by her deputy, Penny Robinson. I said sure and asked if I could take notes. She said no problem. Before I could ask any questions, she stated, I was told that if you came to me with questions, I should tell you the whole truth. As that statement puzzled me, I replied, of course, what else would I expect? Nothing less from you. So tell me the truth about what? Do you want what I am going to ask you? Do you know what I'm going to ask you? Sarah said, Sharon went to her office after October 19th. FOIA request and told Sarah she had a big problem as Josephine Farrell had requested the video and she had done something she shouldn't have. Sarah then said, she asked me for an agent authorization form and I complied as she was my boss. Sarah then told me that she reported the incident to Supervisors John Christie and John Moyer. And they reported to the County Attorney John Dunn and Tom Kempock, an outside attorney who had sometimes contracted for personnel issues. Sarah also told me that she consulted with someone named Jonathan at the PA Department of State, and he confirmed that Ms. Labrador made a egregious error by asking Sarah to be complicit, and Sarah was correct to report it and should not worry about losing her job. I then asked Sarah and Penny how the agent authorization worked, and Penny explained that when you become an agent for someone, you must return your sealed ballot along with the authorization form directly to the registration office, not the ballot box. Sometime after November 15th, I spoke with Detective Eric Kirchner, whose demeanor was of disinterest, but he took the evidence tapes, copied them, and returned my original. I then heard from District Attorney David Christine, who reviewed the evidence and sent the case to the Office of the Attorney General. I have a copy of that letter. No one from the AG office has contacted Sarah May Silky or Penny Robson or myself. Commissioner John Christie, former Commissioner John Moyer, and Attorney John Dunn have not, as far as Josephine Farrell knows, have not taken any action that I am aware of. As this woman sits on the Board of Elections, makes decisions that affect the county electorate, and at the very least has acted unethically, there have been no consequences. Should have been consequences, but Josephine writes there have been no consequences. Another interesting fact is that dates from the tapes are missing. So dates October 20th, October 21st, October 22nd, and October 24th are missing from the ballot drop-off tapes. And as I said, this was notarized on the 5th day of March 2024. Thank you.
Well, just so everybody knows, we did do an internal investigation. We handed that information over to the district attorney's office. The district attorney's office sent it to the attorney general's office, and that's where it is. We have no final responders back from the attorney general's office. But, we have followed all the rules and regulations and have done so. So it's up to the AG. Dan? Yes.
This takes a step further than that. Many people made the mistake early on in the early ballot process, not realizing putting the second on the accelerated was a problem. That's been clarified. It's been clarified by this court. And what is egregious here is that in the authority that you hold over employees in our county, that there was pressure to document this cost, after the fact, as if the documentation was in place when you planned it. It's appalling. And I have to say, I've come before this board sometimes and have found, because I'm conservative Republican, there's a high level of, oh wow, here they go again. They can't trust the old balance. This is an indication that I've got instances in reality. And our resolution of the in which it indicates up to 20% of individuals admit doing some sort of improper conduct with their own ballot, carrying ballots in their authorized ballot, carrying are signing other people's ballots as if it's their own. 20% of people are doing this. So, yes, this is a problem. And aspects of this situation certainly can't be controlled or changed. Mail-in ballots are here. It's a state situation. What can be controlled is the integrity of the ballots in our county is upheld as best as it can be. So I made a request a year ago. We don't need 7 locations for mail-in ballot processes. We don't need them. Yes, we can put them in the mail, as Commissioner Christie pointed out. We can't monitor that. But this court has the authority and the order to maintain the integrity as best they can. And if one of our commissioners sitting there violated that process right here in this building, how can we be assured integrity is being conducted at these ballot boxes? So I think, this is my opinion, and I understand it's not everybody, but we should go to one ballot box here at the voter registration office, have it monitored, have a camera there if you're vendor, and review those tapes daily. And anyone else can just put it in the post office, bring it here. But you're charged with protecting the integrity of the vote. So, I just have to see.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Just ask you, I just have a question. If someone is viewing something that they feel could be conspicuous in a way that I saw this person once before, dropping off ballots, I see him again. Who do they contact on the spot?
They will contact the election office.
And the election office is there to take action that very day?
Yeah. I mean, the election office, you called it 4:30, probably not. The thing is that we have currently every ballot box has a camera on it. And for the most part, when they are in other locations at the libraries, it's one of the library's cameras. We would be able to access that camera, go up to the library and view that camera. What we're doing now is putting cameras that we own and are fed back to here. And that's what our next step is for that. So if you saw something like that, then we would be able to view the camera and see what happened.
So you'd be able to do that very day, you'd be monitored constantly?
No, I said I would have to go up and view that currently. I would have to go up to the library and ask you to see the video from that day. And then I or we, whomever we designate, would look at that video and see if something reaches the tablet.
This is Josephine statement of the Illinois statement that the day is missing.
That's the date that is missing on the camera. Okay, that's on the, I would imagine, think that there's a timestamp on the camera that would show the date and the hour. Why that was missing on that camera, I don't know why. We are in the process of changing all the cameras that we have here. A number of them that are analog and we've done it digital, so we get better quality and clarity on all our cameras. We have 35 cameras on this building alone. So, we can utilize that information.
Also, there's only so much storage in the server that retains the video. So we were actually just lucky to have the preceding days. So by the time we got the request, we gave Josephine all of the video we had access to. It was just lucky that we had the preceding days.
Right. Yes, Dan. Well, no, the thing is, storage is anybody that has cameras, it's a hog, for data. And normally what happens is it has a 45, sometimes we have a 30-day cycle, other times there's a 45-day cycle. Cameras that we're looking into install have a 45-day cycle. So after, that 46th day, it's copying over the first day.
So if it's
So,
Also, it depends on the amount of movement that's
Right.
recorded within that video. So days that there'd be more movement would take up more space, more storage space. So we'd be able to retain less. Yes, motion, yeah.
in other words, they're activated when there's motion in front of them. Yes.
Is it possible, sir, that we can actually increase the storage since we are now going into mailing ballots and drop-off ballots? I think that's crucial that we increase the storage because these things do happen. The process does take days, as you said, and having this as a safeguard for anyone to be able to go back and look, I think that is some money well spent.
Sarah, how many days do we have the drop boxes in
Usually 3 to 4 weeks. If we put them out the day the ballots are mailed out.
Right.
So, let's just say they're mailed out. Usually on April 1st, that's the day we're going to go put the ballots out. And then
the 23rd of next week? Okay. I'd say maybe. Okay. So we would have enough storage on that.
Storage, so that we would not, if anyone has a question as to the integrity, isn't it worth it for us as a county to actually increase the storage so that we have a longer storage time? So that would take care of any kind of
Well, what
problems.
I'm trying to explain is that camera, okay, would only be used during election time. The camera is not stationary there. The system that we use now, it's going over because it's the camera of the library. Okay, if we have our own cameras, that camera would then be removed, and thus there'd be enough storage for that. And we will make sure that that's necessary.
Oh, Hector Ramirez. Once the cameras are disconnected, election day is over, so there's no really need to keep running those cameras.
Correct.
So the data that's currently on the DVR, whatever the term is, how long does that stay on? Is it until it gets plugged back in to be used again? Or how does that work?
Yes.
So technically, 2 months later, 3 months later, it can still be reviewed, the election cycle.
Right.
Just want to make sure I understood that.
That's my interpretation.
Except for the cameras that would be in this building because they're part of the overall
Right.
administration
That
building.
would negate the one downstairs.
And that's the one problem, that's so.
So then in that case, I guess it makes more, I don't know the logistics. I can tell you that to me as an individual, it makes sense. Just get rid of that box. Just leave the one inside the closed election box. And that'll at least alleviate any concern with
But you
this.
see, that does not, I think the simpler answer would be to increase the purchase for another camera, be independent of our system downstairs.
That doesn't eliminate.
Yes, it would,
just what you
because-
recorded.
No. You
I'm
think about it.
trying to keep the problem from even happening.
No, I understand. But if I have this camera and it's on our network,
Yes.
forever recording, everybody that walks down that hallway, okay, on motion, okay? If I put another camera up there, this is just solely for the Dropbox, okay? That is independent. We can take that one down afterwards, okay? That one will continue to go and then move over itself, where this one would come down,
Understood.
okay?
But in that case,
And don't forget,
yes.
these cameras will not necessarily pick up the face of somebody dropping off. It's on the drop box. So if you walk up to the drop box, you'll see you dropping your ballot off. That's what it sees.
Okay, what I'm trying to understand is what is the downside then to just having a Dropbox in the Board of Elections office? What's the downside?
The downside to that is the traffic in and out of that office. It would be disruptive to the office because everybody that comes in says, "Where do I drop this?" Which means somebody has to stop and say, "Over there." Next person comes in, "Where do I drop this?" "Over there." "Where do I drop this?" "Over there." So that's the disruptive part, as opposed to people just coming in into the hallway, dropping it, and then exiting. It does take an awful lot of somebody's time to direct people to the drop box. It's a fact. I've lived.
Oh, no, I don't doubt it. The reason you see funny faces on me is at a previous meeting, I remembered one of the questions was who would be monitoring these cameras?
Right.
And one of the suggestions or possibilities was for the people working in the office to be monitoring the cameras anyway. It also takes away from their work.
Correct. So what we're probably will be doing is it will be directed to another member of the county who would be able to have that monitoring. See, anybody that's monitoring this has to be sworn into the election. Okay, as a worker for the election. So that it's our job to provide all those services. So that's where we will come into play. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Ballots, everything has to be retained for 2 years. So how can this type of situation becomes part of the process now, we're gonna have to, and it's not in the law yet, it's part of the problem, how we want to monitor bugs, the camera that you can reliably before, that probably needs to be retained for that 2 years as well. I just think that should be part of that process because
I don't think legally
correct.
it has to be safe.
Well, that's the problem, because that's what we're at with the process here, is the process wasn't ironed out before we implemented it. And that was-
Here, there's so many things that
I
have not.
know, I know, because I spent over 3 hours last night at the meeting, because everything I've been seeing. We're gonna spend more money, more electronics, more data, more energy is needed for everything, more money on the camera, for one more camera. You don't know, because this last quarter, that's the conference. This is about, she wasn't with me, but I think the last conversation. We're looking at homes in the West End being surrounded by these solar panels. Tall standing solar panels. People think the value of their homes will not go down. It's hideous for their home place, and it's a matter of which place is going to be white versus a big purple company coming in and wanting to install these panels. And the reason for saying this is the more data we create, the more electronics we create, the more energy we produce. And this is a very frustrating point for people at homes who are trying to keep things happy, because the land is being used. Sorry, I digress on that, but it's all.
Yes.
My question is that situation with this landlord and city is it's just gotten pushed along, and why hasn't something actually? Why hasn't there been action within this county? Why is it sitting in the attorney general's office where it just evidently looks at that, and nothing's going to happen?
Because we have no authority to say anything or do anything with regard to something like this, because it is a legal ramification. The district attorney's office reviewed it, and to be honest with you, it is their prerogative. I'm not speaking for Mike, he's right here, but to send it to the attorney general's office, and that was the previous district attorney. Okay, so that's where it went.
So in essence, it's just dollar, right?
I didn't say that.
The county commissioners have no control over whether there's further action taken. They took their responsibility and referred it to the district attorney's office. The district attorney's office has the ability to refer things to the attorney general's office, and that's what they did. This board has no control over what happens from there. We can't force that process. We can't control it. It's completely independent. And so whether it's dying or not dying, that's a question for the attorney general's office. That's not something anybody here can consider. They did their responsibility and moved it on.
Yes, sir.
You're getting new cameras. Said you're going to be digital.
Right.
Don't they contain a memory chip that you can just take out and store?
If it's on a memory chip, it would never store what you need on that chip.
Memory is very cheap and expansive. You can store thousands of gigabytes.
What we do is we utilize a central area for that. That's
It's going to be old school. solutions. I believe that you can file a written campaign to go through the
I don't speak Latin. If I do, it's very badly. I can say carpe diem, but that's about it. And I'm corrected on that. So, I don't know. Anybody else?
I don't know.
I didn't roll my eyes at you. I just wanted to know.
Actually, the conversation about this. So what about motion by the board to come up with an investigative cost? I think this is part of this, the evidence of going time, the evidence that they were saying that portion of the tape of the election cycle.
Before I presented that, I would have to research it. Okay.
We're gonna go back to the tapes, it's been 10/20 and 10/24, October 20th and October 24th. Those are Friday and a Tuesday, and they were only, 10/20 was only 18 days on November 6th. And 10/24 was only 13 days on November 6th. So it seems odd that nobody looked at that video that was requested. I said, well, maybe we need to look at this video and see if anybody else is on yet. But there's no video. Like, how can it just be gone for these days? And it's days in between the election cycle.
I think what she's reporting is what she saw.
But there's
Not-
no, but those 4 days are actually missing. They're missing from the video. I don't know if anybody's investigating that.
That's all. Yes.
I'm not a lawyer, so I'm asking legally, is there a reason why cameras, I'm not talking about what happened, I'm talking about setting up better security. Is there a reason why the cameras that we were talking about only recorded the actual vote in the box and not the actual face?
Because of privacy issues.
And that was, is that part of the law?
We don't want to be out recording in public.
No, what I'm saying is, and I'm sorry if I'm being very, coming up to the box and dropping the box in, dropping the ballot into the box. Okay? If we had the person who is taking the picture of dropping the ballot into the box, we would then be able to kind of make the ballot more secure. With only the picture or the video of this person in, dropping it into the box, there really isn't any security there.
I think you have to somewhat, go ahead.
Well, there's the first one. Yeah, we have done, depending on how the face can be take out something. But if it's on the bottom, and what I see, it's like it's, unless they wear a mask or whatever, where they stuff done and like that, I suppose. But for the most part, I think their face will show on what I've seen. But
That's not asking, do you know if you will actually have a person, actually the person who's approaching the box?
So it's not a head-on camera.
So what use for the security is there to have, I'm just asking, and putting a ballot into the box? And Sharon, I'm not picking on you, all right? We only know that you were supposed to have done this, okay? But now, suppose it's time now, we don't know if someone is continuing to put a ballot in the box with, you can't identify him, most likely. So what I'm saying to you is, what, is it,
Right, just to be clear, right now, we don't have the cameras yet, and so we don't know exactly what they will be showing. So I think a lot of the discussion right now is not pertinent because we don't know exactly what will be shown on those cameras.
Mr. Christie
I
said
understand.
it's in hands, and I'm just saying,
No,
when
Mr.
it's
Christie
time,
said that it will not be a shot
it would be the
of
hand.
you going like this with your face right there.
You didn't just say the hand, and I'm not gonna debate with you. All I'm asking is, can we, when we're looking at purchasing the cameras, unless there is a law, is it possible that we would then look at something that would have, you know, a shot of the person putting the ballot in? That's all I'm asking. It's for future reference. All I'm asking is that we look at a camera that would do that, rather than just looking at a camera that would just put the hand in and perhaps see it. That's all I'm asking. Thank
No, but you
That's
did
all
not
I
have.
ask. Thank you.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Dr. Ramirez, I want to make sure I listened to you correctly. I think you said something to the effect that one of the concerns would be having somebody's face on the cameras for a privacy issue or something. Or maybe I misunderstood you.
I'm gonna say that that whole issue is something that we will look into and get a further opinion.
Because the reason I want clarification is I'm under the impression, I could be wrong. I'm under the impression that when you enter any public place, I would think it's this building, a library, it's understood that you can and will be videotaped. Almost any public place at this point in time. Cameras are popping up everywhere. But once again, I was under the impression that you don't have an expectation of privacy. And I know definitely when I go to vote in person, I choose to show my ID in front of people. Everybody sees me.
And there's no camera there, video.
No, there's no camera there. So that is a bad example. But with that said, once again, as far as public places, I'm under the impression that it's understood you don't have that kind of privacy. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you can correct me.
There have been comments made and we will look into it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anything else?
I spoke about unstacking the stream concern election. So the situation we got today is just one more example, and I know I have pages full of examples of people that have been prosecuted for election law. And it pertains to mail-in ballots, it pertains to machines used in our elections. First, I'd like to start by saying I do not consent to machines being used in our elections. So my vote and everybody's vote pretty much represents the freedom. And if you don't have the belief that our votes are truly being counted accurately, that's a problem. I've had a couple of different things here. The Parliament report, I'm sure you've heard about that. That's one of many different things that have come out and talked about some of the election integrity concerns, especially pertaining to machines. So both octopus scanners, where you bubble in a paper ballot and put it in, and voting machines are considered computers, which means they're programmable. I take it back to you guys' homepage, where it basically talks about being programmed, and basically in that situation, you're looking at machines are programmed for specific outcomes, and that's stated on you guys' page there. So that's one of the things, and this is another quote in their paper. We examined where they had examined and spent several months probing for vulnerabilities in all different types of machines, and what they found was disturbing. We could reprogram machines to invisibly cause a candidate to win, and they were able to create malicious software, which is considered vote stealing. So there's that, and then they have some where some people indicate that voting machines are not that directly connected to the internet, which we heard repeatedly. And he states, unfortunately, that is not true. So there's one more thing. I just feel like there's so many reasons to consider another option. And when you talk about the cost, again, more money from taxpayers, cost for more cameras, you're concerned about the privacy of those cameras. Well, okay, so we have all these boxes everywhere. So maybe we turn the boxes into the RX boxes to get rid of expired prescriptions that we can't seem to get put up anywhere. And we consider going back to one day in-person paper ballots, where we people can count by precinct level. We are very capable of printing. At precinct levels, it's very doable. I mean, just to understand, that's not going to cost as much as all the computers, all the maintenance of upgrade, every couple of years you want to get newer ones. I don't understand why there's such resistance in that, because you know what, when it comes to our elections, we should really want accuracy of efficiency. And you know what, with
But certainly elections in the past that are taking days and days and days made no sense to me because we couldn't count it. We had our results by the end of the night. So that's my statement, you know. And one of the other things that's told by Haldeman, U.S. voting machines are available. Any of the voting machines you use, whether you're reading into it or it's when you're voting directly.
Mr. Howard asked.
Yeah, we have to use that. Actually, I'd like to take one step further. Last presidential election, and the National Guard people, you know, to watch and make sure that there were no violations. There were violations. The violations got reported to the state. They got buried, and the people that initiated to get the truth out were kept from, they weren't able to get it out. So we've got a problem, it's a national problem. I agree with what you said about the state ballots, and the question to you is, your board of election, how many counties in Pennsylvania? One. But how many counties in 67? Okay, is it possible for all those counties to get together and discuss this, and let's get it on the same page? And it should be held to the public, it should be a public hearing that we can all see, because we're not seeing it, we don't know anything. You know, it's all being kept from the public. We're being lied to.
First of all, I do not think that you're being lied to.
Well, it's misinformation.
Well, I think some people have heard me say it a number of times, others more than they want. The system that we have in place, I feel, is the best system possible. You have to apply for email. You have to be, you're then vetted to make sure that you are eligible to vote in Pennsylvania. That mail-in ballot is then mailed, or absentee is then mailed to you. Okay? You only get the one ballot that you've requested. That ballot then comes back and is verified. Okay? It's held, it's locked away until the day of the election. Then it is open and counted here, if it's a mail-in or absentee ballot. Okay? We do it all here, and people are allowed, candidates, they're allowed to have somebody here. We have done this over again. We do tests on it, okay? Where we turn around and we'll do a sampling and check it twice. That's the law. We follow that law. I think one of the things that you heard from the conversation or from Josephine's testimony was that nobody else, other than the incident that we had, was dropping more than one ballot. Okay? I think you should take some solace in it. Okay? I have a family. My wife luckily can walk in here and put her ballot in. I put my ballot in the box. My kids get mailed. Okay? Because they can't come down, but I go to the post office and get a receipt. Because I want to make sure that that ballot counts, that it has a postmarked date. We have, everybody complains about the mail, so what we do is we have an option for you to feel secure that your ballot goes into that drop box. We have steps in place for that to be picked up. There is a seal on that box. That seal is then opened and recorded. It's put into another box that has another seal. It's transported back to here. We count the number of ballots that the people that pick up the ballots, who are all sworn in, and we do a check to make sure there's 67 ballots. And then we sit there and sit on Sarah's floor and count 67 ballots. She needs to be part of it. So we make sure that everybody is taken care of, and we follow a chain of custody. All right. I feel I can stand up here personally and say, we run a fair and honorable election in Monroe County. Okay?
So in the Haldeman report, I know you said you're very confident in the system.
I am.
And in the Haldeman report, you see that there's an area where it talks about machines being checked, like you said, to check and test them. But then as soon as they're put into circulation, there's a change. They're controlled. So you wouldn't even know as an informant. But if something's happened, you wouldn't know. But it's like you would call to get to the rest of us that want to know that we have safe and secure elections, why is that a bad thing?
I don't think it is. It doesn't scare me. My thing is that we provide all the information that you're allowed, the candidate is allowed to have people here, okay, to watch.
You can't see inside machines.
Ma'am, also, there is also a very stringent procedure at the election. When you come in to vote, those numbers are checked. There is a list that is handwritten of voters when they come in. Voters are checked into the poll pads. Those numbers have to match. The numbers of the ballots that go through, that are scanned through, that number has to match the number of people who have come in to vote. All the numbers are kept tracked in those voting locations. The number of people who check in have to equal the number of ballots that are processed through that
And it
machine.
will. And it
They
will.
do.
But sometimes different votes can count weighted differently. So that means, on the other end of things, there's algorithms that can change the weight of those votes. Yeah, there's going to be the same number of paper ballot votes coming through, but your results aren't going to be the same as that paper. When we start counting those paper ballots right there, and you see, you don't understand what I'm saying. But again, why should we have to sit here and worry about whether it really helps or not?
The poll pads are a completely different system from the election equipment. The election equipment, neither the election equipment nor the poll pads have access to the internet. They're two completely different, they are completely different systems. We've got different vendors. The election department doesn't even have anything to do with the poll pads. The IT department processes the poll pads and comes up with numbers that actually match the numbers that they get from the equipment. So it's a completely separate count on completely separate.
That's something different. We're talking about machines that programmable that actually computers. So we don't know what's going on inside the machine as far as which way the votes are voted. Everybody talks about the process. We know the process. We've got the process down.
The reason
It's what's going on inside the machine.
The reason the machines are in place is so that you don't only have the results from machines, but you also have the paper ballots, which provide a record of the votes that were counted by the machine.
So that we have the paper ballots.
Right there, let's do that, and then we can verify that what the machine has
And
is
such a ballot box on
Second.
Sarah May, you had told me the county that has.
They did a hand recount of 25, because the commissioners voted that people submitted to voters, and it was, one vote. And that's like common count. They're the ones that just had the decision come down on that, tax bill.
Mr. Gerhard, you have a comment? Some places it costs money. We found nothing. Yes,
So
Sam.
why would you want to use that? If there are a lot of people who use this machine have. So that's what I'm
That's
saying.
the result.
Because
And there were 60 lawsuits.
they don't have our machine.
Lost everyone. What I really understand,
But my
is machines.
There's machines I would never choose.
Explain this to me. I don't understand why a person who is going to more than one ballot you go into a library in broad daylight, where they can run into a neighbor, a student, a doctor, a teacher, when they can go to the post office, mailboxes, which have no cameras at 2 o'clock in the morning, and put them on limit. I
They would
don't
just
get
go in and vote one day.
well, that's not the reason.
All of it.
I mean,
Eric?
what's the real reason we don't want to go?
I don't prior to the Ohio, spent some time as both a poll observer and a poll worker. And I just want to say that the laws that are outside some nuance. And it was a thankless job. I just want to thank Emmy and Sarah. They do a tremendous job. Everything is very well accounted for. The processes, the poll pads, and the tabulators do not communicate to each other. Poll workers have to reconcile those numbers themselves. It was a very solid effort.
I think most people don't realize that our voting machines, our computers are not connected to the internet. So there's not gonna be some big bot that comes and gets them all at once. They're not connected to the internet.
Yes, sir. You got something?
Yeah.
Anything else? Yes, Danny.
Yes. I read about a week or two ago, the governor instituted an election for law enforcement investigation. I don't know whether they failed, but have any directly come from the governor's office to local, with new rules and regulations? Have you had a problem?
No.
So we don't know what the governor needs. Nobody knows.
Waiting to be.
It seems like, you know, we're pretty much over up here. Does anybody remember the Adams family? Yeah. When the hand comes out of the box. This is how much. This is how it is.
Thank you. Just a few things. When I was hearing you just say someone in the city, say, and I asked if you were authorized to do that. I guess, Director Silver could answer this. Are you allowed to drop off, be authorized to more than one vote? In other words, if she had permission for John Smith to drop off his vote, could someone have permission for John Jones as well?
We're the same person.
Yes.
There's a form for each person. So the way it's handled, if the ballot's not mailed out, there's a form, the authorized designated form. We give to the person with the application. They bring that form back with the application, we process the application, and we give the ballot to that person who's authorized to take it to that individual. Maybe that's, whatever. And we give them a new form. So that form comes back with the ballot, and then the ballot comes back to our office.
Right, so can they do that every day for a different person? Oh, now I'm gonna be authorized to drop off her vote. Thursday I'm gonna drop off her vote. Friday I'm gonna drop off his vote. Monday I'm gonna drop off her vote. Is it just endless?
I think so. I mean, it's from the Department of State. I probably might question it if that can happen.
So you can.
To my knowledge, as long as the form is filled out properly.
Okay. All right, that's something I think is good, but that's also an opinion. So the other thing is the drop-off boxes came in because of COVID, right? Oh, so not COVID, that 77 program?
It was a
Yeah, it's 2020.
Okay. And so we're no masks one down the back. I didn't see it. But we still have the
Right.
So, and the reason being just convenient?
There's a law that requires, that allows for voting by one ballot.
Allows, doesn't require? Right.
Correct.
So you could eliminate that if you want.
Yes.
Right. And we're spending a lot more just on cameras, on manpower to help them all, press security issues. But you don't want,
We don't have security issues.
well, no, anytime you're transporting votes from the library,
Right.
that's a security issue.
Well, I think we have procedures in place.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I mean, the car can get hit in the balance, lost, and the wind that blows, down through that. So that's a security. Right. So, you don't want to get rid of this, even though it's costing me money. And COVID's one
Well, I had COVID about a month or so ago, so I don't know if it's not past that.
Right, right. How many people died of COVID this year?
Don't know.
You didn't tell me how many died of COVID. Somehow you feel.
Let's get to your point.
Right. Now you said that you really have no power to do anything about this. It's in the attorney general's.
Correct.
But when you were a candidate running for the election, you had to appoint someone to be on the election commission.
Correct.
Yes. Don't you have the power to remove someone right now?
Yeah,
But
the election code provides that the county commissioners shall be the board of election. Shall. There's no other procedure in the election code as to who makes up the board of elections.
and so that commissioner commits a crime, they shall still be on the election commission?
The election code provides that the county commissioners shall make up the elections.
Right.
And right now, there are 3 county commissioners, and they make up the election.
Like you just repeated, you said, it must be what. Um, Just real quick, so if any of these commissioners break the law, they shall not be removed from the election
From the
commission,
election.
especially in regard to an election?
If there is a question about whether they should, there's a procedure for a commissioner not to be a commissioner under the county code, and so if a commissioner was removed as a commissioner, they would no longer be on the Board of Elections.
Right, so they stay on the Board of Elections pretty much with the meeting. And when they step down from on the election commission during an election, that's written into the
There is
law? Or that's-
There is a procedure provided for in the election code as to when they are on, when they are candidate for nomination or election to any public office, the president judge of the court of common pleas shall appoint a judge or elector of the county to serve in his seat.
Okay. Yeah, I just had one other thing. We haven't heard from Commissioner Latin. Like, can you explain?
He doesn't have to say
I
it.
didn't say she has to, I said that she might. Did she answer? It seems like that's her answer before. Is she a puppet then?
Jane?
Does the law still exist, innocent until proven guilty? Just asking.
Yes.
That's all I have to
Yes.
say. Back to the point about the authorization form that we were referring to. I had some training at the Republican level regarding the processes. And as I understood it, an individual can be authorized to bring the ballots from a household in which perhaps multiple people are disabled. So that could be done. But an individual can't be authorized to go from household to household to household and approve authorizations for any number of people, because that would it constitute a valid privacy structure. So that is part of the question with this problem. How many authorizations were applied for by an individual, whether they were dated incorrectly or not, was anyone in the process of using that authorization form to facilitate the delivery of ballots when they wouldn't have been possible to get 2 forms.
We actually, we're the only ones in the office, they come to us, so we know what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
So we've spoken about the law, the election law, but this is the oath of office of the Constitution. And I'm not trying to drown the Commissioner like her. But my point is, there are many other people involved with this process. And that's our main point of being here, is that nothing was said to the people who first brought this up, nothing was said to Joseph Lee Farr. And in the oath of office, it says, I solemnly swear to support and obey the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the Commonwealth, and will discharge the duties of my office, with fidelity. Then it goes on, and then it goes on to, any money or valuable thing to procure my nomination or election, except the necessary and proper expenses expressly authorized by law, that I have not knowingly violated any election of law of this Commonwealth or procured it to be done by others in my good path. So with that said, my thought is there's quite a few people involved with this, and how the people of Monroe County follow the case that was sent to the State Department. So we said it was sent to the State Department, the Attorney General's office. So how the people of Monroe County follow what's going on. So you're saying just bypass the county, and we're just going to be.
The county has no information about it. It's out of the county's hands.
I understand that, but so that if we want any updates, you're saying we have to contact the AG's office.
I think so.
suppose you can tax money back in the taxes.
Yes, standing last one.
We hear Rockwell County, election Sunday. I'm pretty sure for the other cities in Rockwell County, you're gonna hear the same thing. Is anybody wondering why the governor is looking to the election canceled? If everything's running something?
I think it's, I'm not sure, Danny, but I will find out.
Yeah, no, I mean, the special rule on that, I like that.
I think, Danny, this task force was just formed. So,
Yeah, it was,
they're, I mean, a bunch of us election directors have spoken about it. But I think it's probably gonna be a good thing for us to have resources as an election director if I have issues. And I'm just waiting, I think they're just kind of putting it together, to hear from them more about it.
If you remember back to the 2020, there were certain rules that had changed. Police officers are not allowed in polling places.
Or 100.
Or 100 feet from a polling place. So there were rules that were removed, but some people weren't up on the rules, okay? So you can go in with your t-shirt ablaze with anything you want, you can wear any hat you want. Before, that was against the rules, okay? So I had to have meetings, we had to have meetings with SART, Pocono Mountain Regional, and Pocono Township, and inform them of the rules for the police officers. Okay, so because SART was called to one polling place, an officer, lieutenant came with him and said, we are only allowed 100 feet. We cannot enforce any other rules. Okay, so we put an end to that, and everything went along fine. But the thing is that I will be more than happy to find out what the task force is and volunteer for it. Yes, Ann.
It's been my understanding of democracy is it's based on the will of the people. The more people who vote, the closer our representatives get to our will. If drop boxes make it easier for people to actually vote, I don't see why anyone should have a problem.
Okay.
do you have the opposition?
Your motion. We have. Okay.
Did
Now,
you
10 minutes.
find out if JTL will not allow election signs on election day? Did they fill out that form?
Yes, they did. They will allow signs to be at the school there,
Great.
the East Stroudsburg High School South Green.
Oh, and
That's
how
East
many-
Stroudsburg Fifth.
how many?
Well, we just posted the list of it. I don't
Yes.
know off the top of my
Great,
head.
great, thank you for that.
Your motion to approve. We are. Thank you.